Okay, again, I apologize that we've had some web trouble today, and we'll continue. Again, my apologies for the web trouble. So, the difference between public and private is in the U.S., states are responsible for education, and most institutions, or a majority of institutions in the U.S. Are public. We have numerous private universities, and some of the most famous that you've heard of, Harvard, Yale, MIT, Vanderbilt, Duke. These are all private, but University of Virginia, University of California, whether it's UCLA or Berkeley or Davis, are all public universities. University of Michigan, the Big Ten, all schools in the Big Ten, the SUNY, State University of New York system. But New York University would be private. We have 4-year and 2-year institutions. Currently, most international students go to 4-year institutions, but the option of going to a 2-year, what we call community colleges, is a very viable opportunity. It's something that we often encourage international students to consider. It's a more intimate environment with a lot of support, with many great programs, and in many states there are clear articulation policies. And what I mean by articulation is that your degree would channel into specific 4-year institutions. There are agreements in which your 2-year degree would then allow you to move straight into a program in the 3rd year at a 4-year institution. So that should be considered as well. There are for-profit institutions as well. Other types of institutions, as I mentioned, the community college, you will hear the term liberal arts college, Smith, Amherst, and many other liberal arts colleges. Vocational technical career colleges, and then colleges with a special focus, a focus on arts or single sex. Smith would be all women, for example, religiously affiliated. Georgetown is a Jesuit institution. Notre Dame is a very famous Catholic institution, or with a specialized mission. Berea College in Kentucky is one that has a very interesting specialized mission. And so let's move on. Mount Holyoke is a liberal arts college, and when you click on international students for Mount Holyoke, I wanted to highlight that it provides all the tuition and fees, the room and board, so it gives you the full cost of attendance, but also shows how much financial aid was given to international students. So more than 485 in total international students received aid from Mount Holyoke last year. A significant number of students, but also a significant amount of aid. Almost 18 million. So in total, $17.7 million were devoted to international students by Mount Holyoke. This is not rare. There are more and more universities are devoting significant financial resources to attract international students. International students are wanted; they're desired for the campus communities. The international students are seen as contributing great ideas and great concepts to the community. So we encourage you to apply. And we'll talk about the SAT very soon. I saw that there are a number of questions about the SAT. Ways to learn more about college beyond Big Future or other sites that may be online, or we encourage you to go to Education USA centers. Each country has a series of Education USA centers. This is a network that we partner with that's part of the U.S. Department of State Education and Cultural Affairs. And Education USA can be a great on-the-ground resource for you. We encourage you to go to college fairs in your area or attend an online fair. When you use Big Future, always make sure you also, when you narrow down your choices, go to the university site itself. Watch YouTube videos that the university may have posted or their students may have posted that relates to the college culture. Get a real feel for what that college culture is like. Speak with an admission representative. You can do so at the fairs, or Skype. Try to Skype or contact a university representative to ask questions. Ask about financial aid opportunities. Talk to students in your own country. Alumni, for example. Try to find alumni of that institution. And again, take advantage of College Board resources like Big Future and College Board International. U.S. embassies, American centers, American libraries, that's Education USA, Fulbright commissions and foundations, not-for-profit organizations, and university information centers are all at your disposal, and depending on where you're located, can be very helpful in your college search. Now, what's next? So, narrow and categorize, your choices. A more than likely school. Choose 1 to 2. A really good match. Those we ask you to choose 2 to 4 of those, and then maybe a reach school, or what we call an aspirational school, a school that may be highly selective, but you think that you would fit in well there. We encourage you to choose 1 or 2 of those schools, but do have a range of institutions. But what's most important, according to, that I think, is that all of the institutions you would be happy to attend, that you would be happy there. Only choose institutions that you would really see yourself fitting in and doing well at. Review scholarship and financial aid requirements, and revise your application essays and share drafts with a trusted teacher or advisor, a family member, and friends. Make sure that you're applying to the institution. Don't reuse the essays necessarily if the institution is asking for something unique. Ask for recommendations from your teachers. Most universities require recommendations. And set firm dates for their completions as you organize your search. Request transcripts and schedule interviews if needed. This is our site, international@collegeboard.org. This allows you to learn more about studying in the U.S. It provides resources to study in other countries outside the U.S., Canada, the U.K., and it provides information about College Board programs. And this is a picture of the site. Study engineering in New York, study in the U.S., study around the world, and tools and programs. Well, thank you for attending. I'm going to now look through your questions before we close. Excuse me. And try to address some of those. Again, these are links that are important that that you can utilize to begin your search. So, how do you make your list? One way to make your list is taking your once you have your SAT scores. So Ms. Young is asking about how she can use her SAT scores, or how the student can use the SAT scores in the search process. So SAT scores can be used by looking at the range of scores accepted by the college in previous years. We provide this on our site, and typically the very selective institutions would have a higher range, but those ranges extend, and so you can look and see where your scores fit in. Please don't be discouraged though if your scores fit to the bottom range, because many colleges, when they look at international students, they don't necessarily have the same expectations as they do for domestic students. So if you fit in other ways, you should still apply. The SAT should not be the only thing you look at. Another question is how to find whether the educational institution is accredited or not. That's a very good question. So accreditation in the U.S. is regional, and within College Board's Big Future site, only accredited universities are included. So that's one reason I mentioned Big Future as being very strong resource, a very valuable resource, is that you will only find accredited institutions there. So that's one reason why that's a very good place to start, is you can trust that only accredited institutions will be part of that site. Then you can branch out, and once you've narrowed the institutions in which you find there, go to their site and find additional information about them. Let's see other questions. Preparing for AP. So AP courses and exams can be very valuable both in the admission process, but also for when you arrive on campus. You will come with credit and placement. This can save you money. It can also make your experience on the college campus more flexible. You will already have some of the courses out of the way, so that you can dive into and focus on the most interesting courses and more advanced courses, hence advanced placement. Many countries, including China, India, South Korea, Hong Kong, have opportunities to take AP exams through a test center model. AP exams are going on right now, so it's important to start preparing for AP, taking an online course or taking a course. If you're in a school that offers AP, you would usually start that course at the start of the academic year. So coming up if school starts in August or September, most international schools start then. Some schools start even earlier. But AP exams are given in May, first 2 weeks of May, and are sent to universities, and universities use those scores in admission, but also for credit and placement. Could you tell me some of the websites which provide sample U.S. interviews? We'll look into that. Sample U.S. interviews. We will look into that, and I will have my colleague Annalisa respond to you on that. I'm not actually sure. And another question is, I'm a U.S. citizen, and how can I apply for need-based aid? You don't need to. You would not need to apply separately. At most colleges, if you're a U.S. citizen, that's a fairly straightforward process. But when you apply to your universities, you would need to indicate that you're looking for aid. But many universities in the U.S. Have very generous need-based aid for U.S. citizens. Any essential tips for post-grad applicants? There are many good sites for graduate students. Unfortunately, the College Board does not provide that. I would encourage you to look at TOEFL's site and go for that from there, or GRE's site. Can you provide me with websites which provide U.S. visa interview and instructions regarding the U.S. visa process? Yes, there's a very good site that you can explore. Type in educationusa.org. Educationusa.org has a lot of information about the visa interview. This is part of the Department of State site. And it looks as if most of the other questions are very specific to universities, and with that, unless there are additional questions, I think I will close. I really appreciate your time today. And I have one more question. Does the College Board share our preferences on Big Future website with universities? We actually do not at this point. That's your searches are completely your own, and they're private. We do look at trends, like which universities are searched most often, but this is not reported to those universities outwardly. Okay, well, thank you for your time, and we're going to close the session today. Again, it's a real honor to work with international students, and we encourage you in your search to consider the U.S. and to apply to U.S. universities. We think that the universities in the U.S. offer great opportunities for international students, and we thank you for considering them. Bye-bye.